Hello, everybody. This is Beth Worsdell, author, here for the Witty Writers Show. And I am so thrilled because I have with me Jenny Hickman. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Beth.
Can I just say, Jenny, you have got the most beautiful smile.
Thank you.
You really have. It just lights up the whole room. And I'm so happy that you're here with me today, because I'm just absolutely, completely in awe and intrigued by your books. Now, before we get down to your books and to give chance for everybody to join us today, how on earth did you end up going from Maryland to Ireland? How did that happen?
Well, I guess it's, what year is it? 2021. Okay, so about 16 years ago, I studied abroad in Ireland with one of my best friends, and I met an Irishman in a band, and I thought he was cute.
Isn't that a movie? I seem to remember reading a book and watching a movie that was very similar to me.
Yes, exactly. I know the one. We have a happier ending, though, thankfully. Yeah, so, and we did the back and forth thing for a while, and we got married in 2012. I was living in Nashville at the time, so we got married in 2012, and I've been here ever since.
Isn't it crazy how life completely takes you on a totally different journey than what you see for yourself?
Yes, it's, yeah, like I'm from a very small town, and like a lot of people don't leave, and it's just like the fact that I'm now living in Ireland is just still blows my mind.
It's absolutely amazing. You could write a whole story just about that, couldn't you, really?
I could, yes.
That's absolutely amazing. We've already got lots of people joining us, and Josephine is saying hello. She says, hello, lovelies.
Hello,
Bless her. Josephine is actually in Devon, my hometown, and she's been getting awful weather at the moment. And have you been getting hit by the weather as well?
It's not, yeah, it's just cold here, but not as cold as it is back in Maryland where I'm from, but it's just a bit cold. It's not too bad, actually.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear, because my family's in Manchester and they've had nothing but flooding and snow and rain.
No, we've missed that so far.
Now, how did you manage to adjust from Maryland to Ireland? I mean, was it a massive culture shock for you, or did you just embrace it and just go with the flow?
Well, when I studied here that long ago, I was only 21, and so I embraced everything. So as you do when you're that age, yeah. So I embraced it, and then by the time we got married, it just was a second home at that point. You know, we had gone the back and forth thing, and I'm so used to it now. It's just normal now.
It's just amazing. It really, really is. Now, I know that Nashville obviously plays a big part in your life, obviously being, you know, your hometown and everything else, or your home state, should I say. And one of your books, one of your first books, was actually set in Nashville, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Nashville actually wasn't my hometown, but it was where I was living. It's I was in Nashville. I worked in advertising and lived there for just over a year with my same friend, actually, who I studied abroad with. We just went everywhere together. Yeah, so one of my first books, Flight Risk, takes place in Nashville. So it's kind of a second chance romance. It's not available right now. I'm reworking on my backlist, I was saying earlier. So it will be available again at some point. People seem to like it. So just working on kind of tweaking it a bit.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, the reviews speak for themselves on that one. It really, really does. And then your second book, The Mirrors of Barnard Hall. Where's that set?
That is in England, actually. And now that you asked me, I can't tell you exactly where because I don't remember.
That's all right. We were just saying before we came on that we've both got terrible memories. So excuse us, everybody. We're just both Dories.
Yeah,
that's interesting, though. So it's set in England.
It's like a time travel YA romance kind of a thing with magic mirrors and stuff. So.
That's just absolutely amazing. Now, I know, because I searched you quite thoroughly. You've got your passion for the romance side of storytelling and reading from your mum and reading her books. Is there one particular book that really made an impact and inspired you to go ahead and start writing yourself?
There wasn't really. It was just the whole of the genre. So like I would have read a lot when I was little, and then I found boys and soccer in high school, and I didn't have time for anything with that. And then yeah, so I had other things on my mind. And then I think it was one of our family vacations we went on every year. And my mom, I was bored laying on the beach, and then I was like, "What do you read, Mom?" And she had a few romance novels, and I fell in love. Like, it was just the escapism, the knowing there's a happily ever after at the end. It was just, and I just became obsessed. And so my grandma used to read them, and then she'd give them to my mom, because my grandma would buy the hardbacks, whereas I didn't have the money for hardbacks in college. So my grandma would buy the hardbacks, and my mom would borrow them, and then I would borrow them, and then my sister would borrow them. So we had our own little kind of book club going for a good few years.
Oh, I think that's absolutely lovely. I really do. It's funny, isn't it, how the people in your life can really influence your tastes and actually broaden your mind. I think that's absolutely amazing. Kristen's just commented as well. Hello, Kristen. She says, "Hey, Beth, and nice to meet you, Jenny."
Nice to meet you as well.
She's a fabulous lady, and Kristen's like me. She's got quite a broad taste in literature, so she tends to read lots of different genres and everything. I must admit, I've always had quite a soft spot for romances. And I remember when I was in my teens, a friend of mine gave me some, I don't know whether you remember them. They were called like the Sweet 16 romance books for teenagers. Do you remember those?
Yes.
I used to love reading those because, as you said, they were always like happily ever after. You finished reading it and you always finished it with that feel-good feeling.
Yes, which I need. Yeah, there's enough in this world that is like unknown, and I'm like, I need to pick up something that I know by the end, no matter what happens, it's going to make me feel good.
It's true. And do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know about the facts and the figures, but I wouldn't be surprised if that type of book, including romance, is just increasing in sales, because people so badly need that right now, don't they? Something that's going to put a smile on their face.
Yeah, an escape and a happily ever after. I think we all need that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josephine says, "We can see you, Jenny. It's Beth that has froze." But it was probably me that had the weird, funny face on. My eyes are probably Now, as I was talking about your beautiful books and Pan, which you released in 2020, how did that all happen? What inspired you to write Pan? And just give us a little bit of an idea, because we were talking a little bit earlier, and I didn't realize that it had quite a bit of a sci-fi influence as well as a fantasy thing. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so ever since I was little, I was just obsessed with Peter Pan, and like my sisters would have watched a lot of we would have watched a lot of Disney movies, and they would have liked more of the princesses, but Peter Pan and Robin Hood were my jam. Like that, I love those two books. So when we would be playing, I had two sisters and I was in the middle. I was always Peter Pan. Like, they could be Wendy, they could be whoever they wanted. I was Peter Pan, and that's it. So I've just always been intrigued by the idea of being able to fly. And I was like, I want to make a world where people can fly. And so basically it's a young adult contemporary romance with a Peter Pan twist, is how I like to say it. And it follows a girl named Vivian who turns 18, and she finds out that she has something called the Never Gene, which activates around 18, and it helps people live forever and learn how to fly. And there's the bad guy isn't a curly-haired pirate. It's Hook is the humanitarian organization for order and knowledge. It's like a group of scientists who are trying to deactivate never genes and find the fountain of youth. And yeah, so that's science-y, genetic, in a light way, I guess. Lightly scientific.
That is absolutely awesome. I absolutely love that concept. Because you're basically giving everybody the chance to have the opportunity or to possibly have that gene. So as you said, so they can fly and last forever and everything. That's just absolutely fantastic. Oh, I'm just going to pop a little comment on here. Oh, Kristen says, Jenny, you had an adorable smile on the whole time. Beth was making the silly face. No worries. See, I told you. Thank goodness I can edit later, I'll tell you. That's so cool. She also says, oh, this sounds amazing. So she's intrigued by Pan as well. Now, what made you decide to make it a trilogy? Because you just released Hook, haven't you? Which is the second one.
It's actually out on the 3rd of March. So I'm kind of doing all the push up to the release. So it's almost released.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Everybody, you've got to go out and get Pan so that you're all up together, so you're ready for Hook when it's released in March. So is it a continuation of the story and more adventures and the fight against this, this organization that's trying to stop them all?
Yes. So it's it's a continuation of the two main characters and their story. Originally, it was just going to be one book, and then it just got too long for one, and then I had ideas for twists and turns and some more drama, and then it just ended up getting bigger and bigger. So I'm working on writing the third one. I'm supposed to be getting it to my editor this coming week, so hopefully I can get that done.
Oh my gosh, I tell you, it is so exciting. It really, really is. Josephine says that's a very intriguing twist on what we think we already know. Sounds great. It really is a fantastic idea. It really is. And do you know what? I think there's so many, like you, there's so many fans out there who absolutely love Peter Pan and for the reasons, because he can live forever, and and he's got that camaraderie with his lost boys and everything else, and to have something new and refreshed with a different spin on it that still takes you to that type of new world, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I can understand why your reviews are as good and as many as you've got. Thank
you.
It blows my mind. Leanna's just joined us from Australia. She says, good morning, ladies. Bless her.
Morning.
I hope she's keeping up well with the heat at the moment, because it's blooming hot right there at the moment, unfortunately. Bless her heart. So what made you decide to self-publish and go down that route? Was it an easy decision, or was you a bit unsure?
So I've had quite an interesting publishing journey with this book. So I queried it to agents, and then I ended up landing with a small press a couple of years ago. And I got the cover, I got all the editing done, and 2 weeks before the release, which is supposed to be the 1st of September last year, 2020, 2 weeks before the release, I got notified that the company was gone, like they were folding. So my book then had no home 2 weeks before release, but also all the pre-orders were already shipped out. So so a lot of people got a version that I hadn't even seen. Like, they never sent me my author copies, they never sent me anything. So I never saw anything from those sales because they had to cover their own costs. I don't know. Well, so anyway, and then there was so it was a bit of a disaster. So I ended up signing with it's kind of an author co-op. So they're called Midnight Tide Publishing. So it's fellow authors and editors who are all working together and cross-promote each other's books. So like in the back of the Pan, I have a couple other authors' books in there, and same with their books, they have mine, and we just cross-promote and use the social media platform for our own books. So it's a tough decision, but I'm kind of a bit of a control freak, so I love being able to like choose my cover, like approve the cover design, make sure that all the edits are exactly how I want in conjunction with my editor and everything. So, and the Bookstagram community and everything has been amazing. So I'm getting it out there, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far.
It's amazing how sometimes things work out, isn't it? And I think with any smaller publishing company, there is always that risk. You know, some of them haven't been quite around long enough for you to know, is this going to work or not? I mean, I'm so glad that you got your rights back and everything else. I mean, that's just fantastic news. And I've heard really good things about these author co-ops where you all help each other and everything. And that Midnight Tide Publishing, that co-op has actually published a lot of books, and the reviews have been fantastic.
Well,
so
a lot of the authors, yeah, so a lot of the authors were with the publisher that closed. So we all had books ready to go and no home for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it all finally worked out for you in the end. It's all good. So are you doing are you doing Hook the same way with Midnight Tide Publishing?
Yes. Yeah. And then the third book, the Croc is coming out on the 4th of August.
Fantastic. I tell you, it's amazing. And what's nice is you will see a massive change in your book sales and everything else once you've got the third book out, because now I've released my book 3 in my trilogy. I'm seeing more people buying 1, 2, and 3 instead of just like the first one or the first 2. They're literally going through straight after the other. So I think to have them out so quickly in between is just fantastic. We have got some more comments, so I'm just going to quickly put them on here. Unfortunately, we've got terrible signal between us here in California and you in Ireland, so I'm afraid we're a little bit glitchy, but there's nothing we could do about it, unfortunately. Kristen says, I'm definitely going to read. There you go. So you got some more books to add for Kristen's TBR. So they're on there. Leanna says it's high, bloody hot as hell. So Leanna obviously feels like she's in hell at the moment. Oh, no. Bless her. Of course, because she's in Australia, we've got winter here and she's got their summer. So she is literally cooking at the moment, unfortunately. It is so hot. If anybody's got any questions for Jenny, please feel free to ask and we can go through those. Now, are you tempted to write any other genres? Do you have an itch to write for any other genres, or are you trying to stay primarily in the same ones that you are in now?
I don't really have a desire to write anything but romance. I have a more fantasy romance that I just got back from my editor this weekend. That is supposed to be maybe releasing in November, but I also have a few different published houses looking at that. So I don't know what's going to happen, but that is fantasy romance. I love reading books with a bit of romance, like with a love story in it. So that's what I probably will write. I don't read books that stress me out. I couldn't do thrillers. I don't think I could do a mystery novel. I don't think I'd be very good at that.
I know what you mean. It's strange, isn't it? I must admit I had no plans on writing anything other than sci-fi fantasy, and now I've just written a short love story that's going to be released on Valentine's Day, and it took me completely out of my comfort zone. I've got to tell you, Jenny, I was so nervous and worried, but it's actually worked out quite well. So you never know where you're going to go.
Yeah, you never know.
Exactly. So do you think there's going to be more to do with Peter Pan in the future, or do you think you feel like you've done what you wanted to do?
I'm happy with where it's going to end, where this is going to end, but there's a lot of characters. So there's always the possibility, and I had some ideas maybe for like a spin-off novella of another character's kind of story and everything. So there's a possibility of that, but I'm excited to work on some new stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, we was talking earlier, because you've got two beautiful children. What do your kids think about you writing books? Are they your biggest fans, or,
yeah, my son kind of? It's more like, oh, mommy's looking at the computer again. Oh, mommy's reading again. Oh, it's more like. But then they see the books, and like when they came in the mail, my son was really excited. He's like, "Where's mine, mommy?" And I was like, "I have your copy. Don't worry." So yeah, I think they're still a bit young. So my daughter's 4. And she could care less. Like, she likes reading her kids' books, and that's it. And then my son is 7, and he's big into nonfiction. So he's like, I mean, I like Peter Pan, but so who knows? Maybe someday.
I know exactly what you mean. My youngest daughter has always brought home books about archaeology, the weather, the world tsunamis and stuff like that. So she's always been into books that are so real life and epic books about tragic events and stuff like that. So when I told her about my book, she was like, no. I even tried to bribe her with chocolates and sweets, and it just did not work, Jenny. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. If I'd have given her, she might have read it, but that just goes against the grain. Josephine says she loves a good romance. I think most of us do, to be honest with you. It's such a nice escape, isn't it, from reality? It really, really is, especially as you said, when it's got such a feel-good factor. It is amazing. And Leanna says, "Oh,
and as well."
Go on. I'm sorry, it keeps lagging a bit on my end.
No, I was just saying as well. Like, well, I'm married, and I'm like, I'm not going to be going off with anybody else. I might as well just read this book and have a bit of an escape in my mind for that.
Absolutely. Now, when you're not writing, and I know you're always busy writing and trying to juggle it, writing with your kids and everything, who are your favorite authors to read?
I love Holly Black and Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I'm big into kind of fantasy lately, but I also like Gillian Dodd, Julie Garwood, like some of the proper romance writers. Really, it's not so much like there are a few like auto-buy authors, like and as well Colleen Hoover. I think she is amazing. I love all of her stuff as well. All the lighter things. I like the romance stuff. Some of the mystery gets a bit too stressful for me, but I have to be in the right frame of mind to read Hoover's books as well, because there's always a big twist somewhere, and she just rips your heart out and puts it back together, and sometimes I'm not ready for it.
I must admit, I'm with you on that. One of my favorite authors is Cassandra Clare. And of course, she's written quite a lot with Holly Black. I am such a huge fan of both of them, especially Cassandra Clare. I mean, her, the Shadow Academy and all of that. Oh my God. I literally, I can't, if I start one of her books, I cannot put it down. I am addicted. It's terrible. Yeah. And my husband will come in and he'll say, did you get much done today? And I'm like, not really. Because I couldn't put it down.
No, you have to research.
That's good. I'm going to use that from now on, Jenny. Yes, I have been busy all day, darling. I've been researching. I love that. I can even get away with that, putting that in my diary. Research day. We got some more comments here.
You need to set it aside.
I do. Research time. Leanna says, I love romance and happily ever afters. She's quite a big fan of all books, but especially the romance in all genres, which is brilliant. Heather's just joined us. She says, hi, ladies. I am loving hearing about your books, Jenny. How do you schedule your writing time around your home and kids' schedule?
Oh, the joys of that.
I should get my balls out and start juggling for you.
Yeah, it was so hard when the kids were little and not at school in like summertime. So it was basically like get up early or stay up really late, and that was my time. But now then they were in school this year. My daughter started play school, and it was amazing. Like I could just wake up and like write from 9:30 until 4 o'clock every day, and then they canceled school, or lockdown happened again. So then the kids aren't in school, and now I'm having to go back to just fitting it in whenever I can, which doesn't make me a very nice person during the day. I get so grumpy. I'm like, especially because, when you get into writing, trying to stop is like if you're on a roll, you're like, I just need like another hour, and you don't have that hour, and it's like, so very careful.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, the whole pandemic thing has such an effect on all of us writers, because as you said, normally we're just juggling a job and our writing, home and our writing, work, home and our writing, and now we're now having to help educate our children as well, which normally we don't have that much involvement in. And it only gets worse, Jenny, I've got to tell you, because my daughter says, Mum, can you help me with this math? And I'm saying, no, because that's completely different to how I was taught at school. I have no clue how you are supposed to work it out that way. So I'm useless. I am of no help to my daughter whatsoever with most of it. But yeah, because we're having to homeschool our children, you're now a teacher as well as an author and trying to keep up with the house. And there is just never enough hours in the day.
My son hates mommy. He throws a fit every day. He's like, I don't want you to be my teacher. And I was like, do your work. Let's do it.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough, honestly. I really hope that the whole pandemic thing sort of settles down and we can get to a new normal. I think, we're never going to go back to the old normal, but I think hopefully we will go back to a new normal. How have you found it, marketing yourself, promoting your books, and having to do everything online instead of trying to do face-to-face events? Has that been tough for you?
has and it hasn't. I think because of how big social media is in comparison to when I first started writing, which was 10, 11 years ago when I put my first book out. So it helps a lot to have the social media and everybody's kind of locked down. But yeah, I miss being able to do things like go do book signings and meeting people, and like my book launch party had to be canceled because of COVID. So like I miss those things, but it's just, you just get on with it. Like, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. So I just put myself out there, do what I can with Facebook ads and make my videos and trying to put myself out there so people can hopefully like me and then want to read my books. So we'll see.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I've done quite a few marketing videos in the Writers Rock group that I'm in, just trying to help and support other authors as much as I possibly can. And you've just hit the nail on the head, because, you know, people do tend to buy us first and our products second, you know, and they buy our books based on the cover first, and then the blurb, and then the reviews. And it is tough trying to sort of keep that momentum going and getting the word out and everything else. I think it's fabulous that you're here with us today, because, you know, we're desperately trying to all do these activities and events and everything online to not only help each other as authors, but also try and lift all our readers. And I'm sure you've because I know you're friends with a lot of your readers as well. It's tough, isn't it, when you see one of your readers having a tough time because of the whole COVID situation, but then it's nice being able to help try and lift them up again and keep them going and give them something to smile about. You know, it's
yes, exactly. And that escape that everybody needs right now.
It is. So have you got a busy 2020? What, I can't believe I'm saying 2021. I don't know where last year went. Honestly, I don't. Even with the pandemic, it's going a flash. It's crazy. So if you, sorry, go on.
No, a busy. Yeah, I mean, I do. So I'm writing book 3 now. It's going to the editor next week. We're releasing book 2 on the 3rd of March. And then we are releasing book 3 on the 4th of August. And if I'm not picked up by one of the agents or publishers who have my next series now, I'm looking to release, I have a date at the end of November for that. So lots of stuff, hopefully.
It's just fantastic. It really, really is. Now, I know you're a bit of a planner and a pantser, aren't you? You're a bit of both. Does that depend on how the mood takes you, or just depends on life?
Yeah, so I have an idea. Like, I know usually where the book obviously is going to begin, and then where it ends. And the middle, I have kind of certain like scenes maybe I want, but everything else is kind of like just seeing where the characters take me. I am on some of my backlist stuff because it's already written. I am kind of reworking and trying to work on the plot and the characters and stuff. So I'm plotting a bit more with that. And I have a few other projects I'm trying to plot, but most of the time I'm just kind of like, well, let's see where this goes.
That's just, now I've got to ask you, because obviously, you know, with Pan and Hook and your trilogy, it's based on genes and certain people who have this certain gene to gain immortality and the gift of flying and everything. Did you have to do a lot of research to do with, you know, the genes and how they work and how they become, you know, dormant genes can become active?
Right. So it's actually pretty funny. I mean, you can do research online, and a lot of it is written by scientists and geneticists who know what they're talking about, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like reading gobbledygook, and I'm like, okay. So in the story, there's a guy who understands it, and he says things one way, but he has to dumb it down for the girl he's speaking to. So then my readers hopefully will understand what they're saying. So I was on Facebook, and I was like, hey, do I have any maybe old biology professors or anything who would be willing to read this passage to make sure that it makes sense? And then a girl she was a foreign exchange student my freshman year of high school, who played soccer with us. She was my friend on Facebook, and she's like, hey, I'm actually a geneticist in Frankfurt if you want me to look at it. And I was like,
no way.
I know a geneticist. So yeah.
That's happening.
So I sent the passage, and yeah, it was crazy. I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is going to actually be legit, not just Jenny's brain making things up. So, so I sent her the passage, and she gave me kind of better wording. And I was like, okay, how can I dumb it down for me and my readers who maybe aren't geneticists who are super smart like you? And so she helped me with that, and hopefully it doesn't disappoint.
That is absolutely brilliant. I mean, what are the odds of having a friend who does that stuff? She was she was obviously put in your life for a reason. So
exactly.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever had to Google research?
I don't know. I don't know if it's weird. Like I have to Google lots about like the ways people die, or like if they will die, or how to not let them die if something happens. If that makes sense. So it's like, okay, if someone got shot here, or someone had a throat cut, or someone drowns, but like they don't really drown. Like, so at what point are they not going to die? So I'd say, if anybody ever, like if the police ever came and looked at my search history, they'd be like, what's this girl doing?
They'd be thinking Jenny's husband needs to be a little bit worried right now and make sure he's got life insurance.
Exactly.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant.
Exactly. So that's anything else that I've had to kind of research. That was probably like, it's just, if you want to do a twist, you want to make sure that you're not, if you don't want someone to die, or if you want them to almost die, it's like, what are we going to do here?
Yeah, where's that fine line?
Exactly.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, as you probably know, Jenny, I do try and actively encourage sharers of the Witty Writers Show and our author interviews. And I am pleased to announce that the winner of the last interview I did is actually, I've got it written down here. That was Dana's interview, and the winner was Tirza. So congratulations, Tirza. I'm sure Dana will message you and get all your details. I know, lucky winners. So congratulations, and bless them what, Dana actually had quite a long list of codes for audiobooks. So I know she actually messaged everybody. She's so lovely. She actually messaged everybody and gave them all audiobook codes. So thank you very much for that, Dana. That was so lovely of you. We're doing a giveaway today as well with you, aren't we, Jenny? Which I'm super excited about.
Yes.
So whoever shares Jenny's interview across, it's going to be everywhere, so you can share from any platform, but make sure you either tag me or Jenny so we get to see that you've actually shared it and we can put you in the draw. But if you win from sharing, you will actually win a free ebook of Pan. So excited. And we will announce the winner on Thursday at my next interview. So get sharing right now, because obviously the more shares you do, the more entries they get, Jenny. So if you share 5 times, you get 5 entries. It's all good. And as I said, you can share on any platform, whether it be Twitter, Instagram. Oh my gosh, you're everywhere, Jenny. Goodreads. What else are you on? I'm just trying to think. You're everywhere. Jenny's everywhere. So if you Google Jenny's name, Jenny Hickman on Google, all her links show up. And obviously I've got them all underneath the video as well. So you can share on each platform and get more entries as long as you tag one of us. So that's super exciting. I can't wait to read your books. And I'm so thrilled that they're coming out quite quickly, Jen, because I don't know about you, but it winds the crap out of me if I have to wait years for the next book to come out of a series.
No, I either forget about it, or I get super annoyed, or I don't want to read it till I have more to read.
There's nothing worse. It's like a painful death. I won't mention Mr. Martin.
I agree.
However, come on. The only good thing is that you have to reread all the previous books all over again, just so you get back on track for the new one. So you do get your money's worth out of it, because you reread them.
Well, you don't have to worry about this. Yeah, mine are out super fast, and so the first one doesn't end on a cliffhanger, but the second one does. So that's why I wanted to get the third one out, so people weren't like rioting in the streets, I guess.
That's already hooked by then, Jenny. I am so excited. I honestly am, and I can't wait to tuck into them all. Jenny, you've been an absolute angel, and I truly appreciate you coming on today. I think you're absolutely fabulous. There's a couple more comments which I'm going to put up right now. Josephine says, yeah, I had an ebook, though not an audio. Oh, we'll have to do something about that, Josephine. We'll have to do something about that. I will message Dana and see if she's got any left. You've been just absolutely phenomenal. You really have. For those who haven't been able to join us live, they are still going to ask questions, if that's okay, and put those questions in the comments. Make sure if you want to ask Jenny a question, please tag her name, or give us some sort of indication so she knows that your questions are there. And obviously it's going to be shared around everywhere. So Jenny would love to have, questions from you, tell you more about herself and her books. And I hope you're going to come back when you've got the third one out. Would you come back and join us again?
Oh, definitely. 100%.
Oh, fantastic. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us, darling. You've been an absolute pleasure to talk to. I am so stoked about Hook coming out. So everybody needs to get it on their TBRs and start putting it on their to be read list, which they can do on Goodreads, can't they? Because all the details are already on there. Is it available to pre-order on Amazon and everywhere?
Yep.
There we go. There we go. So you can all go out, buy book 1, pre-order book 2, and tuck into those while you're waiting for book 3 to come out. Thank you so much, darling. Thank you to everybody who's joined us today, and we will see you on Thursday again for the Witty Writers Show. Thank you, Jenny, and I'll speak to you soon, darling.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.